What's up with y'all boys and girls, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here on a Thursday, May the 4th. Be with you. No, I'm just playing, but it is May 4th, man. I got my guy Mike Davis with me. We chatting some NBA hoops. Mike, what's up, man? How you doing today?
Dude, living the dream, Jay. It's warm weather. Well, it's not hot weather, but it feels good outside. So happy to be alive. I can't hit my rear end with either hand in Major League Baseball picks right now. So hey, going through a cold spell, and I believe every handicapper goes through those cold spells, and I certainly have. I started off the season and just straight fire, but I lost again. Well, one game's not over, but I have a feeling they're not coming back. Had the Cardinals. And I had the Pirates today. Pirates lost 3-2, and the Cardinals were getting killed 11-2. It's back to 11-7. But anyway, not a good day on the basis for me, my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One thing I learned is that baseball is a long season grind.
100%.
So, it's still super early. And like we were talking before, you're gonna have your runs. You're gonna have good days and bad in baseball. You just gotta take them on the chin.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was at the Rangers game yesterday when we rallied back, took the lead 6-5 after getting crushed early, and then got cranked again in the Blues in 12-7. It's the nature of the beast.
Hey, what? That Rangers bullpen was atrocious.
Yeah, atrocious. It's been that way. I would say that's our one flaw with the Rangers right now is our bullpen. They just every time we go to them, man, you just gotta hold your breath.
Yeah, hey, listen, the Rangers are hitting the baseball though. They're
Yes,
really
they
hitting
are.
that baseball. That young, however you say his name, the third baseman.
Rookie of the month. Low key I think he's gonna win of the year.
I'll be
He's serious.
shocked if he doesn't. He's seeing the ball well, man.
He
That
is.
kid is seeing the ball well. So we'll see. We'll see how. I think he hit 2 yesterday.
He did hit 2 yesterday.
Yeah. So there you go.
So yes, sir, man. We got some hoops today, man. We got what I think is going to be the best series of probably the year. I think it's going to be better than any conference game we get, and I think it's probably going to be better than the finals. I mean, we got the two best players of this generation in this series, LeBron and Curry, man. The Lakers and the Warriors. Lake Show took game 1. Anthony Davis looked dominant in that game. I'm interested to hear what you thought of that game and what are your thoughts on this game and moving forward in this series.
Well, I'll tell you, as you mentioned, AD just dominated game 1. He's a motivated player right now. I don't know where it's come from. I really don't. Halfway through the season, you could have convinced me that AD was washed. You really could have halfway through the season. He's so often injured. But the thing about it is when he's healthy and when he's motivated, forget about it. He's a top. You could argue he's a top 5 player in the league. Certainly, you could argue he's a top 10 player in the league when he's motivated.
Top 10 for me for sure.
He showed that in game 1, and quite simply, the Warriors didn't have an answer. And my question for you is, Jay, what's going on with the Warriors? This is not the team that we're used to seeing. Do you believe it's age? And can you put your finger on it with the Warriors? Because Steph still got 27. I think Klay Thompson got 25. So they're still scoring, but something's amiss. Is it depth? What do you think, Jay?
I think it's defensive intensity is what I think it is. Golden State, most people don't know, but Golden State over the past few seasons has had a really great defense, and you would not think that looking at their starting lineup. I think that's going to be the key for this one tonight, that defensive intensity. It's going to be the reason why we were talking about Anthony Davis is I think he's the key to this whole series. He is. The key to the series is Anthony Davis. Meaning, when I say that, I don't think that the Warriors have quite seen a big man as dominant like Anthony Davis in their entire run. They played Nikola Jokic, I think, one year. But I don't think he was really ready to beat the Warriors. The Warriors at that time were just juggernaut.
He's right ready now, by the way.
Yeah, I think he would be ready now, though. Yeah. I do. But when we just look back at it, last round Sabonis, he was solid, but he's not really a back to the back, I'm finna dominate the paint type of center. Go back to last year, the Celtics, they didn't really have a dominant big. My Mavs in the conference finals didn't have a dominant big. Who'd they play earlier than that? Memphis, they didn't really have a dominant big. So I just think the Warriors, it's just going to be an adjustment period for them to that. We have to see them really defend a big guy that can create and dominate himself down low, because we know the Warriors like to play smaller on teams. That's where they are dominant at. So if there's a coach and a team that I trust to make adjustments, it's the Golden State Warriors and Steve Kerr. So I'm really interested tonight to see how they approach that. I think they should focus on Anthony Davis and stopping the Lakers getting to the rim, because the Lakers really didn't put up many three-pointers in that game. I forgot how many it was, but it wasn't many. And most of their points were in the paint. I think you try to force them to shoot some outside shots, force guys to put the ball in the hole from deep. And at home, you live with the results that you'll shoot better than them. I think that should be the game plan for the Warriors tonight. Force them to shoot the outside shot and really put some defensive intensity on Anthony Davis, and I think live with the results. And I think with the Warriors, one of the greatest shooting teams we've ever seen, I think that's a pretty solid game plan.
And to your point, Jay, and you make an excellent point. A lot of people don't understand this, just to the casual viewer, the casual viewer out there, they don't pay attention to Curry and Thompson playing defense. And to your point, in their younger years, they were shut down defensive guys. And I know they didn't get that credit. I really don't. But you would see them hustling. They would move their feet. Maybe it's because they've lost a step defensively, or they just don't have the energy they once did as youngsters. But some of the keys to their runs that were deep was because of the defensive intensity by those two superstars. They set the tone for everyone else. And the same goes for Kyrie Irving. I know we're a little off topic here, but if you go back to when the Cleveland Cavaliers defeated the Warriors, and you remember that final possession, it was Kyrie Irving defending, and I can't remember if it was Steph or Clay, but he was up on him, and he made that play at the end that clinched the championship for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the defensive intensity, the defensive pressure that these two stars used to put on people, maybe that's where the Golden State Warriors are lacking right now. I can't really put my finger on it, as I haven't watched as closely as I should have on their defense, but I'll keep an eye on that tonight, because I'm very intrigued by that. Something has fallen off with the Golden State Warriors. Having said that, man, I mean, listen, they're at home tonight. They're defending champs. They got one of the greatest 25 players in the history of the NBA, in my opinion. Let's see how they respond tonight.
25.
Lower than that?
He's in my 15, pushing 10.
Okay. Fair enough.
10. I mean, arguably is 10 on my list. We'll see. I think one more ring, and we got to have a real debate on where he lands.
Because he certainly changed the way basketball is played, right?
He did.
You look at the way basketball is played, and Curry has single-handedly. If you watch these youngsters playing basketball now, if you go to an AAU game, even younger, I mean, I watch my 12-year-old go shoot hoops. All they want to do is chunk them up. And I mean, not right behind the three-point line. They way back here chunking it up, So he really has changed the way the landscape of basketball is played. The greatest shooter of all time, I would give you that for sure. So, yeah, I could see him higher. But, just being conservative, he's definitely in the top 25 for sure.
For sure. So, for me, I like the Warriors tonight, guys. I said that this morning on the jam session. I do like the Warriors tonight to bounce back. When I look at this series, it eerily reminds me of yesterday. I know I'm not really supposed to do that, compare series and games, but the Warriors have now lost back-to-back home playoff games, because they lost the first one to the Lakers and they lost game 6 at home to Sacramento. I just really think today is a key bounce-back spot for the best home ATS team in the NBA this season. We were on the Warriors a ton at home, as they were just money there. On the road, they were an automatic fade, but at home, we could bank on the Warriors, man. And I think tonight is going to be one of those nights. We saw the Celtics do it after losing back-to-back home games to Atlanta in Game 6 and Philadelphia in Game 1, came back and won yesterday in dominant fashion with their back against the wall. Also, going back to last series for the Lakers, they stole Game 1 in Memphis. Game 2 there, man, they lost by 10 points. They didn't come out with that same intensity. No team has won both games on the road, I think, this year. I don't think so. I think if the Warriors win the game, they cover it as well. I'm laying the points here with the Golden State Warriors in this one. That's how I see it. I think it's going to be 1-1 heading back to LA, and then we got to reassess a series that I think is going 7. I said that from the jump. So that's how I see tonight's game going down, Mike D.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got two of the greatest players of all time, squaring off with the Warriors having the home field advantage in tonight's game. The Lakers have stolen, of course, the home field advantage or home court advantage for the series. The one play, I'm not playing this game tonight, but the one play I will give out to all your great viewers, and by the way, you guys are just phenomenal. You guys who watch Jay on a day in and day basis, you guys are always dropping knowledge in the comments, and you guys are phenomenal, Jay. You've built a great group of people here. I mean, just a great community, and I respect all you guys for that. I will tell you this, though, your Knicks are in trouble to all you guys in the comment, but that's for a different story. But, hey, two of the greatest of all time. The one play I'll give you tonight that I like, Jay, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I think Steph Curry goes off tonight. They need Steph Curry tonight. I don't know exactly what his player prop, his player prop for points is individually. I know on Prize Picks it was around 30.5. I haven't looked at any of the sports books, but Curry goes off tonight. I mean, I could see him 40+ tonight. So I like Curry over the points tonight as my way of having some action on this game. Steph Curry will have 30+ tonight. And again, I think that totals around anywhere from 29.5 to 30.5. So
I'm saying 30.5 right now. That's what I'm saying. Yep.
Yeah. So, and listen, I know you guys in the comments, you guys are going to be upset with me because I know your Knicks are in trouble. And I told you that before the series started. The Knicks could have lost game 2 and there was no Jimmy Butler.
Miami was hooping in that game with that.
Yeah, they were playing. And the key when watching NBA, fellas, and again, this is just my opinion. I'm not preaching to anybody. But if you watch the bench when stuff happens. Okay, so when some second stringer scores a point and you see Jimmy Butler over there, just going nuts, and they're cheering one another on. That's the key to playoff basketball, is that team camaraderie. There's no clashing of heads, etc. And maybe the Knicks have that too, but I really noticed that with the Miami Heat. I think the Knicks are in deep, deep trouble in that series. But I said that before the series started. I got them at plus 135 for the series, and I don't know what that price is right now, but I'm not moving off that 135. I really like the Heat in that series. And one other thing I want to bring up, Jay, and last night's game that I believe you had the Celtics last night, which is a phenomenal pick, and I agree with that pick. Joel Embiid, okay, he's the MVP, and rightfully so. His numbers were incredible. But if you think he's the most valuable player on his team, we're all wrong. It's Nikola Jokic, and it's not even close when it comes to most valuable for their team, because the Sixers win in Boston in game 1 without Joel Embiid. Without Jokic, the Denver Nuggets don't make the playoffs. And I'll stand by that 100%. They don't make the playoffs without Jokic. Having said that, here's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with James Harden. I have a problem with you, Harden. Yeah, you want to make it all about you in game 1, right? Hey, Embiid's not here. I'll show the people what I can do. Then you come out and lay a damn egg in game 2, just as flat as you could be, because you don't care. It's not about you anymore, Harden. A team with James Harden on it will never win an NBA championship. He's the same as Carmelo Anthony. Those two players will never win an NBA championship. He could be the 12th man on the bench and never get off the bench, and that team would not win an NBA championship because he's that kind of cancer. I stand by that.
I love it, Mike D. That's why I love having the show. I love strong opinions, and I love to hear how people think. And that was kind of built into my handicap yesterday with the Sixers. I mean, if I'm being honest, I thought Embiid would come back and mess up the pace of play, and that's exactly what I told him. We saw Harden and Maxey with the ball in game 1 with volume, getting up and down, shooting the shots they want to shoot, not having to worry about feeding Embiid. And the moment Embiid, the MVP, quote-unquote, got it back in the lineup, they got to feed him again. They don't get those same shots. They don't get the same looks. They don't catch that same rhythm. They're in trouble in Boston, and that's exactly how it shook down. Harden, to me, yeah, he's an all-time great, but I'm kind of there with you with him not being a winner. He just hasn't got it done. Argument is, yeah, they probably should have beat Golden State that one year that Chris Paul got hurt, but I mean, that same breath, they didn't. They had every opportunity to do so and just didn't. I think they shot the worst 3-point percentage any team has ever shot in a game that very game. So, we'll see what's up with the Sixers. I mean, I've said all season, Mike D, that I think the Celtics were the best team in the NBA. I said that all year. I think the Celtics are getting back to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if they win it, the finals, but I do think they get back to the finals. I've said all year I think they're the best team in the East, and I don't think the Sixers have the firepower to take them down.
Well, I mean, listen, and again, I'll get off my soapbox about James Harden, but look what he did when Kevin Durant was beside him. I mean, all of a sudden he's nobody all of a sudden, and then he showed us in game one he can still play. James Harden can still hoop. He chooses not to hoop. So I don't, listen to all of you Harden apologists out there, and I'm not talking about anybody on your show. I'm just talking about in general on the national media. Jay Williams is a friend of mine. I believe he's a bit of a Harden apologist. I can't do it. I can't do it. The guy showed us he can play basketball in game one when it was all about Harden, when he knew he was going to get all the accolades. But in game two, when Embiid came back, and we can talk about spacing, we can talk about these two players probably don't need to be on the same team because it's just a different style of play. I would agree with that. But at the same time, I mean, Harden just doesn't come to play when it isn't all about James Harden.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you for that take, man. Not mad at you. So that series goes on tomorrow in Philly. We got Boston laying the 1.5. Any lean in that game or anything?
Listen, I've got Boston in that series, so losing game one really hurt me, and I didn't like that. I wish I would have waited till after game one to take Boston. Again, as I mentioned on the first show you had me on, Jay, I don't play a whole lot in the NBA playoffs because I believe the line is sharp. What about the other night with the Knicks in Miami, right? That line fell right at
6.5, and I had
6.5, 5.5. Yeah. It was all over the place. So you could have had a winner or a loser. Who knows? But it was just so sharp of a line. So if you me make a play, I'll take Boston. I mean, just because of what I just said about Harden, I think Boston has the best roster. I think they certainly have the best starting five. I like their bench. I really do. I love Malcolm Brogdon. I've always thought he's a glue guy.
Huge game from him yesterday. Yeah. Huge game from Brogdon.
Love what he brings to the table. What he brings to the table. So yeah, if
underrated players in the NBA.
What's that?
One of the most underrated players in the NBA.
100%, and he plays defense. Matter of fact, when he came out of Virginia, that's what everybody knew him for was defense, right? And now he's turned a corner, and he's just an all-around very good player. He's a glue guy. He's good in the locker room, etc. And at this time of the year, as I mentioned earlier, it's very important to have that. And I wouldn't put a dime of my hard-earned money. Jay, I wouldn't even bet your money on any team with James Harden on it. I just wouldn't do it.
For sure. I'm just trying to peel some information out of you. I got you here.
Yeah. And you know how I feel about the Knicks Miami series. I mean, listen.
We'll get to that one. That one's Saturday. We got one more. Friday, we got Nuggets and Phoenix. I heard you say you were here with me last time. We both had the Nuggets game one.
Yep.
Then I heard you a minute ago say you took Phoenix game two.
Yeah, all fair. I told you I took Phoenix game two because I like that spot for the Phoenix Suns. And let's be honest, they were controlling the basketball game when Chris Paul went out. So, hey, but I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. I lost the game, now 3-1 on the NBA playoffs. That's the way it goes. The good breaks and the bad breaks, they'll all even out amongst your handicapping career. So you can't cry about that. I do believe Phoenix wins that game with Chris Paul staying in the lineup. After Chris Paul, they've lost all their depth with that trade. And by the way, I hate that trade. I hate bringing Durant in there. I think it was a horrible trade.
To me, Mike B, I agree with you. I
hate it. Absolutely hate it. They gave away all their depth. They gave away their young talent. And maybe that's because they feel like they have to win right now with Chris Paul. I kind of get that in a way. But I hated that trade for them then, and I hate it now. Jokic absolutely dominated. So here's the thing about Jokic. He doesn't score. Jokic could average 35 points a game. I want to be clear about that. If he wanted to average 35 points a game, Jokic would average 35 points a game.
Mike D, before you keep going, I wanted to let it be known that I am a huge Jokic guy as well. I love Jokic, and to be as good as he is and to be arguably the best player in the NBA right now, he's criminally underrated still. So continue, my bad.
Very underrated because listen, Jay, if you've watched so much basketball just like I do, in these games, man, he'll be wide open at the dotted line or inside the free throw line. He'll just pass, you know, in these regular season games. He saw in game two, nobody was, they couldn't throw it in the ocean from the beach. The Nuggets were struggling. So what does Jokic do? He absolutely took over the game. You even saw him shoot a few three-pointers, which he rarely does. He loves the art of passing the basketball. He's Magic Johnson with the basketball in his hand. He really is, but he's taller. He can see better. He might not be quite as good a passer as Magic Johnson, but he's not far off. He's incredible passing the basketball, and he loves to do that. So that's the thing about Jokic. He loves to pass the basketball. But when his team needed him, and I really believe Malone got in his ear and told him, hey, listen, you know, this playoff season, if we need you to take over, son, you've got to take over. No more of this passing it off to Murray, passing it off to Porter.
Had a terrible game too.
We need you. You got to take over. And we saw that in game two, man. When Chris Paul went out, I mean, Jokic just absolutely dominated. Every time they come down the court, and, you know, I was looking at it from a Phoenix perspective because I had Phoenix. Every time they come down the court, I knew they were scoring, right? I mean, there was no way to stop him. There literally was no way to stop him. Either he was going to make a shot, a little, you know, right around the basket, or he was going to pass it to somebody for a layup or a wide open three. So, you know, I wouldn't put any money on the Phoenix Suns moving forward, especially without Chris Paul. The little lefty, I can't remember his name, from Marquette. Cameron Payne, is it Cameron Payne? I don't trust him at the point to make plays. He had some wide open shots, the lefty, and he missed several of them. He'll play better at home because he's an emotional guy, so he'll certainly play better at home. But I wouldn't put any money on the Phoenix Suns moving forward. I mean, Denver Nuggets are, they're the class of the field right now, in my opinion, with the Boston Celtics.
Yes, sir. Last time you were here, I told y'all before this series started, taking the Nuggets in quick work. Said Nuggets in 5, and I still think it's Nuggets in 5. I still think it. I think it's gonna go exactly how I said. I think the Suns win game 3. I think they win game 3 at home because they have to. Their back's up against the wall. It's literally win game 3 or you're getting swept. Is how it's going. So I think they respond game 3. The line I'm seeing now is 4. It was 3.5 earlier. I'm gonna be honest about that. I don't feel comfortable laying that 4. I don't. The Nuggets are not the same juggernaut on the road as they are on their home floor. We do know that, but I think the Nuggets are the better team in the series, and I don't want to lay 4 points on them. Maybe look at some Suns money line, even though y'all know I hate paying odds like that. I really do, and I rarely do. But Suns, I think, win game 3, and that's about it. Nuggets steal game 4 in Phoenix and come back home, and it's over with. I think that's how it goes, in my opinion. We'll see if it comes to fruition. But
another way to play that game tomorrow. And again, I played Phoenix in game 2, but also had Devin Booker over 29.5 points. I mean, dude, he's a dog. He's a dog. I don't believe Durant's a dog. I don't believe LeBron's a dog. Devin Booker is a dog. Dogs win championships. I believe Steph Curry's a dog. I believe Klay Thompson's a dog. We know Draymond Green's a dog. You look at the guys who win championships, it's because they're dogs. And, another way to play that game tomorrow is to play Devin Booker over the points because he is just absolutely showing out right now. And Durant, quite frankly, isn't. I mean, he has some points, but he does not look – what's the word I'm looking for, Jay? He does not look in sync in that offense. I don't know. Something just looks amiss with Durant right now. Maybe he's getting old. I don't know about that, but he's really a second fiddle right now to Devin Booker. He really is.
Yep. I wouldn't disagree with that. I think Phoenix next year is going to have to be their year. They're going to have to try to get some depth this year. Like we said, that trade got rid of 2 really good players, man. Mikal Bridges, I am so high on that kid, man.
That's my guy.
I love me some Mikal Bridges too, man. I really do. And Cam Johnson as well. I think they could have really used those guys in this series, man. Scoring was not Phoenix's problem. That was not their problem. They could get any bucket they wanted. I just think they just needed probably one more year to maturate. And they probably – Chris Paul is a leader. He's their leader, but I don't know. Maybe they need a new voice in that locker room because the way they fell apart to my Mavs last year was kind of disgusting.
You're right. But another year under their belt, with those two guys coming back this year, I would have made Phoenix my favorite to come out of the West. I may have changed it up by now with Denver playing so well. But, I mean, if you put Bridges and Johnson back on that team and you take away KD, I like Phoenix better, in my opinion. And that's not being a KD hater. That's just me telling you the truth when it comes to how the offense runs. You don't need a dog with the ball right now. You got one with Devin Booker. And, being able to kick it out to Cam Johnson or watching Mikal Bridges shut down the other team's best player defensively. A lot of people really missed those Mikal Bridges and they say, hey, he's such a great offensive scorer. Man, he shuts down the other team's best player defensively too, and he can guard, anywhere from 1 through the 4. Sometimes he can even guard the 5. So, they're missing that defensive intensity right now.
I'm so right with you there, my guy Mike. I'm so with you. So last and final one, Saturday. Talking about those Heat and those Knicks. So let me put my cards on the table. My favorite spot all season long has been to fade the Miami Heat at home, especially as favorites. But as I sit here right now, man, I saw the same thing you saw in game 2. I saw the way Miami was hooping, man. Miami want it, man. They want it. They want it, man. Jimmy was on the sideline like he was damn near finna suit up and get in the game.
He was ready.
I thought for a second there Miami was gonna steal game 2 in New York. I hate taking Miami in Miami, guys. I hate taking Miami in Miami. I hate it. I just want y'all to know that. But as I sit here right now, I'm not fading Jimmy Hemi in Miami the way he's been playing in these playoffs, man. I think Miami actually shows up for a game in Miami, and that's crazy coming from me because I'm leaning Miami Saturday. How you feeling? I know you don't like game by game, and I know you got Miami for the series, so I would expect you to think they come home and defend home court.
Sure, Jay, that's the sign of a mature handicapper, right? I mean, I'm still fading Zach Eflin, and he beat me again today, so I'm just an idiot. I'm an absolute idiot. I'm not a mature handicapper, evidently. No, seriously, I don't even know what the line is. I'm assuming it's around 6.
It's 3.5.
What is it?
It's Miami 3.5.
Oh, hell yeah. I'll pound Miami if it's 3.5. Absolutely. I thought the line would be around 6.5. Yeah, I mean, Miami's the play there, provided Jimmy's healthy and, he's got a couple more days to rest. So, yeah, Miami would be my play there, laying a 3.5 easily. I wouldn't lay 6.5, but I would lay 3.5. Can Jalen Brunson put that kind of show on the road? And the answer, I think, is, he has it in him. I mean, he's a dog. He really is a dog. He's a player.
He's a dog.
But having said that, there's another dog on the other team, and he's 6'7" with a long wingspan, and he's the leader of that team. Let me mention this one thing. I saw early when Jimmy Butler, and I don't know if you remember this, Jay, or if you were watching the game. I was watching the game closely, and Jimmy Butler went at Eric Spoelstra, and this was, I don't think it was this year. I think it was last year, and he went at Spoelstra. And Udonis Haslem jumped up in Jimmy Butler's face and basically said, nah, bro, we don't do that here. We don't do that. I'll whip your, you know what? I mean, he let him know right there. And to me, that was a turning point, not only for the Heat, but also for Jimmy Butler. I believe Jimmy Butler said, you know what? The old head is right. I can probably whip the old head because he's old, but you know what? He's right. He's right. I do need to show some respect to Spoelstra. I do need to respect what he's done in the league. And I believe ever since that point, Jimmy Butler has become Himothy, as you call him. And I like the leadership that he has shown, because if you remember, even when Jimmy played for Thibodeau, who he likes Thibodeau, even back then, Jimmy would have his moments of pouting. You remember early in Jimmy's career, he would have those moments of pouting or just acting a fool or almost acting like Julius Randle a little bit. But I saw that with Udonis Haslem that day, and I wondered how Jimmy Butler would respond. And the way he's responded has been nothing short of just phenomenal. He has been a phenomenal leader, phenomenal player for the Miami Heat. You watched him on the sidelines the other night, just cheering them on, caring about the younger players. Jimmy Butler has matured, to a 10th degree. And I just don't see the New York Knicks going in there and stealing game 3. I would lay the 3.5. That may be a premium play for me if that line stays that low by the time we need to release it. But yeah, I like the Heat in that one. I think they win that one by double digits, but I wouldn't lay 6 or 6.5. Even though I think they win it by double digits, I wouldn't lay 6 or 6.5.
For sure. Got my guy Mike D with me on a Thursday chatting some hoops, man. I appreciate you coming on today. That's everything. That's all the games.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me, dude. I always like coming in here and shooting the breeze with you a little bit. Hey, football's right around the corner. I know it's just May. I know it's just May, but hey, listen, I'm ready for some football already. I love the basketball, love the NHL playoffs. I like the NHL playoffs just as much as I do the NBA playoffs, and I'm not a hockey guy. I'm from the South.
I'm not a hockey guy either.
Hockey down here. We know a little bit about it, but we don't play it, right? So, but listen, football's always on the tip of my tongue. What'd you think about the draft? What did you think? What'd you think your Cowboys did? Did you guys upgrade?
I actually did like our draft. I think, media-driven draft, no, it wasn't for those type people, but for the Cowboys to improve as a football team, I love what we did.
What's that outside linebackers guy, the edge rusher they got early on? I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but
so first round we drafted Mozzie Smith.
Yeah, it's not him. The guy after him. You got Smith from Michigan, right? And then you took the guy right after him. And I can't remember the guy's name.
I want to say Bowen, maybe.
Yeah, it was something Water. I can't remember, but anyway. Yeah,
I know you're talking about though.
Keep an eye out on him. With him and Parsons paired together, quarterbacks in that NFC East are in deep trouble. I like that kid a lot, and I cannot remember his name off the top of my head.
Every defensive line is crazy in the NFC.
Yeah, you're right. And listen, the Philadelphia Eagles, I live in Georgia. I got 2 kids at the University of Georgia right now. So we follow the Bulldogs. Kirby Smart and I played ball against each other for years. So we follow the Bulldogs, right?
Yep.
Now we have to follow the Eagles. The Eagles are drafting all Georgia Bulldogs. And they traded for DeAndre Swift, Jay.
Yep.
So they're basically the Georgia Bulldogs of the NFL.
Philadelphia Bulldogs. Yeah. I know. It hurts me to say this, Philadelphia, though. I thought last year the gap between Philly and Dallas was very minimal. I think everybody was loving on Philly, and I think the gap wasn't that big between Dallas and Philly. I would say right now Philly has increased that gap, as much as it pains me to say that. I think Philly has established itself as the number 1 team in the NFC, which pains me to say that. But I'm here to tell y'all right now, that don't mean them boys won't win the NFC East, and that don't mean this ain't our year and we won't go to the Super Bowl this year, man. Hey, I know this is my NBA show, and a lot of y'all probably weren't here with me during the football season, but if y'all thought my Mavs love was crazy this year, y'all got another thing coming for them Cowboys this year, man. I'm telling you, get ready, man. We're gonna have some shows NFL this year too. We're gonna do so. Last year it was just me, Big Al, and Mitch. We did a weekly show on Wednesday. Me and Mitch been talking. We're gonna do way more than that. We're gonna have a lot of football coverage for y'all this year. I love chatting hoops just like I do this. We're probably gonna do that during the week in the NFL as well, man, and just bring guys on, chat it up, and see what's going on during the week in the NFL. Because the NFL for me is my favorite. I love football. We're Southern guys, man. That's what that's my favorite too. And watching football since the womb.
Hey, you ain't gonna like this, Jay. You ain't gonna like it. I hope you have me on again.
For sure.
There's one clear difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles. It's the quarterback position.
Here we go,
it's
man.
The quarterback position. Dak Prescott is not him.
He's
not
man.
him. Why they gave him all that money is beyond him. And they always talk about, what about his great comebacks? Well, the reason he has to have those great comebacks is because he throws a pick 6 early in the second quarter. Dak Prescott is nowhere near Jalen Hurts. And who thought we'd be saying that 2 years ago? Am I right? Jalen Hurts was a project coming out of Oklahoma after transferring from Alabama. But Jalen Hurts is him, man. He is him. And that's one of the big differences. And I think that offensive line of Dallas has slipped over the years, which was their calling card for so long.
I will agree. Jalen Hurts did surpass Dak Prescott this year. I will agree to that. But I think the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFC are Jalen Hurts and then Dak Prescott. Now with Aaron Rodgers out of the NFC. And, if you look at it, who you taking over him? Now, don't give me no Kirk Cousins. Don't give me no – like the NFC quarterback room is terrible. It really is. So I mean, it's not really. I don't think it's a stretch to say Dak's the second best. I don't, because I think third best is Kirk Cousins.
I'm trying to run through the teams. I tell you what,
it's full of young guys. Like you got your Justin Fields, you got your Brock Purdy's, you got.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you who played good is old Geno Smith up in Seattle. He played
I'm
good
not
last
taking
year.
Geno any day of the week over Dak Prescott. Like that's when I think the slander gets crazy. When people
no, I'm not saying I would take Geno over Dak now.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he did play good last year. He earned himself a good contract.
Like Dak Dak had the number one offense last year before he got hurt. Like I think we just gotta chill. This year, though, this is what I'll say on Dak, man. I'm with everybody. I think this year, right here, this one is the do or die for Dak Prescott. And I hate to say that about my guy, but it is. The clock is officially on. If he doesn't get us to at least the conference championship, man, I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair. But my question to you would be, and listen, you sound like a Dallas Cowboys fan, which you are. This is our year. This is our year. This is the year Dak's on the clock. Jay, is it fair to say you might have said that last year also? I mean, come on, let's be honest.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Hey, I had us in the ball last year. I did, man. I thought we had the team. I thought we had the defense. I still think we got the defense. And as a Dak Prescott guy, I think he has the tools to lead us there, man. And if you're telling me that our biggest rival is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, our division rival, who we've kicked the crap out of for the last 10 years, okay. And then San Fran, I think we got something for them this year. I really do. I think we got something for them this year.
I just ran through all the quarterbacks in my head in the NFC, and I couldn't find one that I would put above him, but that's only by name itself. That's not necessarily by play. Okay, correct. That's just by name itself. I mean, you could argue that Jared Goff played better than him last year. You could argue that Geno Smith played better than him last year. The Purdy kid in San Francisco had his moments when he played well.
I expect Justin Fields to take a step this year.
Who's that?
I said I expect Justin Fields to take a step this year in the NFC.
Very well could.
It's just full of a lot of young guys over there, guys that I do expect to take next steps. It's just they haven't taken it yet, so that's why I'm saying. But I saw Jalen Hurts take his, so that's why I will say okay, But other than that, like I said, I'm taking my guy. I am.
Fair enough. And then listen, he's got some weapons around him, so we'll see how the Cowboys perform this year. I can't wait for football. We'll get on here and chat it up about football anytime you want to, my brother. I'm really excited about football. I have a surprise national champion for everybody, and I'm going to do a video on that soon, but I will tell you guys who are listening right now, the national championship in college football this year will belong to the LSU Tigers. LSU will win the national championship this year. Having said that, they're not as deep as a team like Georgia. They're not as deep as a team like Alabama, but their starting 22 is just as good, if not better. And where they set themselves apart is they have two outstanding quarterbacks. LSU, if they stay healthy, will win the national championship. Now, obviously, you can get them at 16 or 18-1, something like that. But when their wins totals comes out, Jay, I think it's going to be around 8.5, and I will pound the over on LSU. They have a tough schedule this year, but they have good coaching with Brian Kelly down there. They have two outstanding quarterbacks. You cannot win at any level of football without a quarterback, without outstanding quarterback play. Times have changed. It used to be with the Trent Dilfers of the world, you could hand the ball off to Jamal Lewis, etc., and you could play defense with Ray Lewis, Peter Boulware, those guys. But, hey, times have changed. This is a passing league now.
Even Alabama has quarterbacks now. It's crazy.
Right. Hey, listen, that's right. Back then they would just hand the ball off, play defense, and let Derrick Henry and everybody else run over everybody. Now Stetson Bennett, people can laugh at him all they want to, but the guy was a baller. He was a dog.
And speaking of him, before you on your next point, I think him going to LA was a great spot for him. I like Stetson Bennett a lot. I do. I think he was a sleeper in this draft. He's a baller. He's a dog, like you would say. He's a dog.
He's a dog. He's a baller. He's been in the fire. He's played tough competition. He goes out there with another Georgia quarterback who's on the tail end of his career, in Matthew Stafford. Let's see how, the problem with the Rams, and again, we're getting off on a tangent here, but the problem with the Rams is they have so much money available. Usually when teams have all this dead cap space, Jay, they really do not perform very well. You know, they get rid of Jalen Ramsey, et cetera. So you look at the Rams, and I think they're like 6-1 to win the West or something like that. There's big money. But the reason is because they have so much dead cap space. And you know, teams with that usually really underperform. But I'll be interested from a fantasy standpoint to see how Cooper Kupp comes back from that injury, see how he does this year. But again, I could talk football with you for hours, but I know this is a basketball show.
Same, man. We'll get there. I love football just as much, man. I can't wait for it to come back around. Well, I guess that's the show. You got anything else for sale today over at Pick Dawgz? I know you said yes.
No, I'm done for the day. I'm gonna watch tonight, and I'm gonna take Steph Curry over 30.5 points, boys and girls. You can wrap that one up, write it down in permanent marker, and go ahead and spend that money. It's a guaranteed winner.
I'm there with you, man. I'm there with you. I like that play a lot. For me, my baseball play is now in action. Since it's in action, I do have the Marlins on the money line. They're down 3-2 in the second. We'll see if they can beat them Braves today. But
is it 3-2 in the second? I mean, I don't wish the Marlins to be losing since you have them, but I played the first 5 over 4.5, so I finally won something, Jay. Let's go, baby. Been a little cold. Still winning this year, but been a little cold. So that excites me a little bit.
Got to celebrate your wins. I say that all the time, man.
Right,
we put a lot of work in to not celebrate the wins, man. Facts.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I had that play, and then I have my favorite play in the NBA game tonight. $19 for sale. That's all I got today. You can find that at Pick Dawgz Premium. Hop on some long term, all that great stuff, man.
Hey, pair us together.
Pair us together. Pair me and Mike.
Yeah, pair us up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Pair us up, man. Let's make some money over an extended period of time. Mike, thank you for joining me today, man. I love having you on. Second show, man. I feel like we've been doing this for forever already.
You my guy, Jay. Always enjoy coming on, man. Anytime you need me, let me know, baby.
Yes, sir, man. Thank everybody in the chat for joining us today. Let's make some money on a Thursday, man. I am on the drive-thru later with Tony T. Probably talking some baseball, maybe some hockey. My Stars in action tonight. We'll see, man. They let me down the other night, man. Hopefully.
That was a good game, though. That was actually fun to watch. You know, from a neutral standpoint, right?
Yeah, like you said earlier, I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but with my Stars in there, I'm really interested in this hockey action this year, and it's becoming more fun to me. It really is. So
good stuff.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, man. Let's make some money today. We out of here.
Thank you, guys.